Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'm not sure that when Graham Day referred to the Cabinet Secretary's profile, he will be answerable for that at a later stage. Let me join others in congratulating Joan McAlpin in extolling the virtues of the Vries and Galloway and the food that's produced there, and giving those of us from elsewhere in Scotland the opportunity to talk about the important cultural Scottish identity and heritage that comes from food and drink across Scotland. Now, Scottish food and drink has even joined the current election campaign. Apparently, someone in the southwest of England, I saw in one of today's papers, was complaining that the Scots were taking over even the full English breakfast down in Devon, where haggis had become part of that meal. I think that's great, because I think haggis is wonderful food, and I suppose even in southwest England it's probably optional. There are bigger success stories in our food and drink industry. Reports have just come out in the last 24 hours. For the first time, our farmed salmon has crossed £500 million. And I think there will be very few members of this Parliament who have not eaten salmon products that come from processing facilities in my constituency. There are small successes as well. The Barra snail is now the connoisseur's snail of choice in French restaurants, not only in France, but in Scotland. The addition of virgin rapeseed oil is improving the quality of cooking and salads throughout Scotland and internationally, and started in the northeast of Scotland. And we now have garlic farms in the Cabinet Secretary's own constituency. Food is an important part of tourism. And tourism is a very important industry for us indeed. Food will bring people to Scotland. And of course, if we don't get it right, it will make sure they don't come back. And when we talk about food, we're not necessarily talking about Michelin-starred outlets, although those are excellent and greater in number than they were in decades past. We're talking about perhaps simple things like the quality of food in a local fish and chip shop. So I'm delighted that when I go for fish and chips to my local outlet, I generally will have the choice of 6 or 8 different kinds of fish, all locally sourced, all absolutely excellent. The Vries and Galloway, I've previously referred to the fact that that was where I very first had yoghurt in the 1960s. I continue to have fond memories of that. The point about our industry is 2/3 of our businesses in food and drink reckon they're going to increase their staff over the next 4 years. We've got a significant number of areas that are entering into the Sustainable Food Cities scheme. We expect by 2016 more than 50 areas across the United Kingdom will have gone on that. Now, one of the things that we dealt with at First Minister's questions was food banks, and that raises an issue of food being available to people with limited resources. It also raises the issue of food and diet. The obesity problems we have now is because of the preparation of much of our good quality food. And if we've good quality food, we can prepare it better, deliver it to address that agenda as well. Let me just close, Presiding Officer, by talking about one dish that you can get in my constituency, which is a modest enough dish costing about £1. And that is Downey's of Whitehill's Cullen Skink Scotch Pie. This is the most wonderful Scotch pie you will have in the world, so good food can be very affordable indeed. And I hope Downey's continue to produce that Scotch pie, entertain my palate and digestive system and those of people across Scotland. Presiding Officer.